Hi Taurus, this is your astrology for April 2016. On the 1st of April, your moon and your Pluto are in the same space in the sky. They conjunct each other in your ninth house of exploration, travel, and education. Okay, so you're going to feel very much at ease in any of those areas of your life, and you're going to be very comfortable with looking at what you can change, what's coming up in future, and I think you have a very good insight into how to make your life and make yourself, your skills bigger. So if you are someone who's studying or who's thinking of traveling or making a decision where to live, the 1st of April is a really good time to look into that. On the 2nd, Venus starts to conjunct the midheaven, and they're both sitting in your 11th house of friendships and hopes and dreams. Now, Venus is going to loiter around that midheaven all month, and Venus is the planet of love and beauty. Midheaven is work and what you really care about, okay? So this is a really good insight into, you're very much in touch with your own feelings at the beginning of this month, especially when it comes to what are my hopes and dreams in my working life. You really are very, very certain of yourself. So I don't expect for a lot of Taurians to kind of get in touch with me and say, what is my life purpose in terms of work? Because the answer will be very clear within you. You've also got Chiron, the South Node, and Neptune, all sitting in Pisces in your 11th house. So you, on a kind of a painful level, you'll be aware of the dreams that you had in the past that didn't work out. You may even get insights into where you've been on a soul level and in a past life and what's holding you back. Neptune is the dream, aspiration, it's intuition. So you will really have a lot of stuff going on in your internal world, and really what that means for you and what your hopes and dreams are when it comes to work and how you can realize those dreams. The key here for you is to be willing to look into all of that, to look at your feelings, because not a lot of people are. You know, no one wants to feel uncomfortable. We all just want to get on with life. But this is a period of introspection that could really help you to let go of things that have held you back in the past, and that could give you real clarity and insight into what it is you really want to achieve in your work. So that thing a day ago, on the 1st of April, about looking at what you can change in your education, in your path forward, that's so interesting because you're really on a path here of making dreams come true for yourself. On the 3rd and 4th of April, the moon moves closer towards your Neptune, and on the 4th, the moon is actually conjunct to your Neptune. The moon is what comes naturally and easily and what you feel nurtured by. So this whole period as well is very good for you to be around other people, especially your friends. I think you'll feel very comfortable with them. But on the 4th itself, you'll get an even more powerful insight into what really genuinely matters to you. Not what matters to your school or to your bank manager, but what really you're interested in. And that's something that's very powerful and important. Because if you start to walk your own path, regardless of what other people think, that is going to be where your greatest success lies. You know, I was reading something yesterday and someone was complaining and talking about the inequality of God. That some people are put on the planet with, you know, looking beautiful and with voices and with great intellect and born into rich families and everything's just wonderful. And some people really come to the planet with nothing, with no gifts, no skills. And it's so cruel of God to give some people to give such a good start in life and other people have to start at -5. But the thing about that is that, yes, life isn't fair. God is unequal in terms of doling out these blessings and these gifts. But we don't know what that's about. And the only thing that you can do is really be honest with yourself about what you do have. Because if you're constantly saying, well, I'm not Heidi Klum, and if I looked like Heidi Klum, then my life would be a fabulous dream as well. But what you're doing then is you're taking all your energy and you're putting it outside of yourself to compare, and you're not spending time looking within and saying, well, actually, I'm not Heidi Klum, but I have the ability to write, or I have the ability to talk, or to garden, whatever it is. And it's important to accept what you've got and the hands that you've been dealt. kicking and stomping your feet and pouting isn't going to do anything for you, but actually embracing what your life is and doing something with it is going to really take you places. And the beginning of the month is a really good idea. It is a good idea for you to look into those things and to embrace your own gifts and talents and to look at what your hopes and dreams are and how you can achieve them. So it's very introspective. It's a very kind of self-searching beginning to April for you. On the 6th of April, Mercury goes into Taurus in your sign in the first house. So you start to communicate now much more on a practical level, and you start to think along, how can I actually make this real? What can I do about myself to become this vision that I have on the inside? Okay, so if I think of myself as a beautifully sensitive, psychic fairy, and I'm a baker, then there's a disconnect there, okay? So what practical action that can you do to become that intuitive, wonderfully sensitive person in the real world? Should you become a crystal healer or a psychic or a clairvoyant or something? And how do you put that into practice? It's really important to get real and honest with yourself, no matter how painful it feels. Venus also changes sign on the 6th of April, so this will be quite a tough day because so much is changing up in the heavens, and you're going to be like, okay, I was going this way for the last month and now suddenly it breaks and I have to go somewhere else completely. Venus in Aries in the 12th is going to really make you feel proud of yourself and like you're doing the right thing when you're taking action to move forward. It's not a time to procrastinate. Procrastination will feel super painful, actually. And if you're doing something, if you're walking in the wrong direction and doing something that you dislike or that you hate, it will become very apparent to you. So pay attention to those messages. The new moon occurs as well the day after, on the 7th of April, and that pulls lots of Aries energy in. So it's urging you to come alive, to take action, to ask yourself, what is it that I love to do? And also, for you specifically, Taurus, it's going to be, what do I love to do and how can I take action to help other people? How can I work to be a leader? How can I work to make things better for people who can't do it for themselves? And what part of me is that I haven't used yet? So you're going to feel massively fired up and motivated and like your life purpose is just within your grasp. It's like the King of Rods in the Tarot. He's really holding on to his passion, desire, and he's the one who can bring all this fire and energy to it. So, big first week here in April for you, Taurus, of self-discovery. And I get specifically, this is on a spiritual level. This is like, what are my hopes and dreams? How do I see myself and how can I make that a practical thing in the real world? Whether it's career or being of service or friendships or work. It's really a time of taking the spiritual nebulous and plonking it on planet Earth and saying, okay, this is it, how are we going to make it happen? On the 9th of April, there's a grand trine in Earth. And this grand trine is a big blue triangle that consists of 3 trines, and it gives you an area of ease and talent. It's in your element of Earth, so you're going to feel very, very able to do the things you want. It connects the moon, which is now in your sign of Taurus. You're going to feel very comfortable on this day. Connects with your Pluto in Capricorn and your Jupiter and North Node in the 5th in Virgo. So this is where you can really make changes on a practical level, specifically in your relationships, in your romantic relationships, and your physical location on planet Earth. So if there's no love there, if it doesn't feel like this is something that fills me with joy and pleasure, then this is going to present you ways of altering that. So if you're somewhere where you don't want to be, and you live somewhere really you don't enjoy the neighborhood or the town or whatever it is, there will be an insight into how you can change that. So again, that's a hope and dream that becomes very much a practical reality. Because, you know, if you have a mortgage, you can't just swap and change your house every couple of months or even years. But this is one of those miraculous times where you can take very, very solid practical things and make changes to them. And also relationships. What can I do to make this relationship work? if there's no way of making this work, what can I do to end the relationship and open myself up and free myself so I can actually look towards finding that in future? Really, there's a lot of opportunity for you to take very practical, good action. 3 days later, and that lasts for 3 days until the 12th of April, and then the moon squares your midheaven and your Venus, which is still sitting in your 12th house, urging you to take practical action, and now especially in work, and how you can work to heal others and how you can nurture others and how you can take care of them. I'm also getting that there's something really powerful going on with your siblings, and if you're not getting the kind of energy that you think you should have, connect with your siblings and see what their ideas are. Sibling relationships are always very interesting because sometimes there's rivalry there, or sometimes there's resentment left over from childhood, but they're very interesting, good relationships because these are people who know you, but who aren't exactly like your parents, and you're not their responsibility, so you can often get great insights from your siblings that you don't get anywhere else. So connect on this day. They will actually have some insight to offer you when it comes to being of service to other people. And I always say this, that when you start to think along the lines of how can I use my gifts and talents to be of service, to add value to someone in the world, that's when you have success and values added back to you. On the 13th, there's another grand trine in Earth, and this time it's between Mercury in your sign of Taurus, Jupiter, the lucky planet, and Pluto in Capricorn, again in your ninth. This is a great day to speak your mind and to communicate honestly, and that will affect change as well. So again, in your romantic relationships, if there's something that you want to bring to your partner, I want us to move to Louisiana and I want us to go together, but this is something I really want for the relationship. If that kind of thing, I mean, that's hard to say. It involves the other person changing their job, uprooting themselves. If that's something you want, this is a good day to bring that in a practical way to your other half. What you say and what you communicate will be very heartfelt and honest. You can trust your own speech. What you're saying will sound and feel right. And it's a good time to bring that out in a relationship romantic area. On the 14th, the moon starts to sesqui square. Let me just double check. Saturn in your 8th. Okay, so I get a lot of stability and I get a lot of questioning when it comes around what your life looks like. And you're questioning how you can help more people, communicate with more people, and also put yourself in the limelight. What's interesting is at the moment you feel very much yourself, and you're contemplating changes that when you feel less confident you would never contemplate. You can trust yourself though, what your desires are, and really you have your own best interest at heart. You know, if I think on a Tuesday, oh, it would be wonderful for my chronic pain if I started to abuse heroin, then that's an idea you've got, but that's not a good idea. That's not gonna help you, okay? The ideas that you're having right now are good ideas that you can trust and that you can take action on. Because it's not always easy to figure that out. Is it right or isn't it right? Just because I think it doesn't make it true, right? If it feels subtle and long-term and quiet, then it's something to listen to. If it feels urgent and loud and like I have to do this yesterday, then that's something that you should reevaluate. On the 15th, there's a grand trine in fire and a grand trine in earth. So the grand trine in earth has been there for the last couple of days. This grand trine in fire comes in now, and it really fires you up in terms of motivation to actually do something for someone else. And I think if you throw a party for someone, or if you start a charity job, or if you decide to help someone in your family move, or if you help them out, it's the best time to add value to someone in their life, because you can be very practical and helpful and of service, and ultimately this is going to come back to you and you will get a lot of help in future as a result of what you do on this day. So make some time and do something just for someone else, you'll benefit from that later on and further down the road. On the 16th, Chiron starts to oppose the North Node, and romance is a good theme for you this month. Okay, if you're in a relationship, you have a lot of control and you have a lot of ability to make changes to that relationship. And if you're single, you really have the ability to find someone who shares your beliefs and values and who you can connect with on a genuine soul level, but also on a physical level, which is very important to you, up until the 16th. Because the 16th, Chiron starts to oppose now this Jupiter and North Node, which is sitting in your 5th, and you start to feel a little bit maudlin, I think, and you start to get a little bit unhelpful, and I think you start to complicate things with bringing emotional things into a situation that really aren't helpful. So, I mean, I'm just trying to think of an example for this. If your relationship is going really well, but then you become overly needy and you expect the other person to sort that out for you by giving you more attention, you're creating problems where really there is no problem. And the 16th is one of those potential pitfalls when it comes to your relationships. So be careful of what you're doing on the 16th. You might be a little bit needy or overly emotional, and that could cause friction. Because when you step on someone's toes, then often they step back. On the 17th, the moon goes into Virgo, and okay, this now overpowers that Chiron energy. So you feel much more practical, you feel much more cerebral, and you can trust your own kind of actions again. So the 16th is a bit of a blip, where just don't make any long-term life decisions around your relationships, because emotionally you're somewhat unhinged, over the top, maybe hysterical even. It's not your best day when it comes to relying on your own feelings. On the 20th, the moon is in Libra and it opposes your Venus in Aries. So this is interesting because you're really thinking about other people and what action you can take to help others. But what feels comfortable is being around other people and not really contributing but receiving. So this is a great balanced day, actually, the 20th of April, where it's a great time for family, for love, for relationships, for spending time with colleagues, because there's a perfect balance between the give and the take, and you get on very well with people. You can still implement ideas, but you can also compromise. So this is the best day so far to just spend in a social environment. You'll do very well. On the 22nd, the full moon occurs in Scorpio, and this brings back that Chiron energy that we had a few days ago. The full moon in Scorpio will make you feel emotionally needy. I think that's going to be the sense. It's like, hold me, cuddle me, tell me you love me, tell me how much you love me every 5 minutes. And that's very annoying to the other person because it's like, gimme, 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 I'm taking, and there's nothing even positive. You know, most people will help you and will support you if they feel like it's justified and it will actually have a good outcome. Whereas your partner now during this full moon will have no chance of winning. If he or she does pay attention to you, you're still not going to be happy. You're going to then fret about something else. So just be very careful during this full moon period. It will bring out the most challenging emotional sides of you, especially in your relationships. On the 23rd and 24th, the moon opposes Mercury in Taurus. And the moon is now in Scorpio as well after this full moon. Is coming off that full moon. And the Mercury in Taurus tempers it somewhat. So you communicate much more on a realistic level, and it's not like your brain is hijacked anymore, which during this full moon it would have felt that way. Like, what has got into me? I'm just like this shrieking, I don't know, it brings out the worst in you emotionally, and the 23rd and 4th kind of puts the moon in its place, keeps it contained, and means that you can communicate without just going off the deep end all the time. It's, for whatever reason, it's a challenging time this full moon, so just watch out for it. The moon and Saturn and Mars conjunct on the 26th. And this is a great time for you to make joint plans again, in conjunction with other people when it comes to your practical life. Should we move? Should we get a new job? This is a great time to sit down and actually hash out the details with either your partner or your boss or someone who has a great deal of input in your practical life. And you can trust your feelings. It will have a positive outcome in future. So it's an interesting month, okay? You're going to have to navigate this a bit, because sometimes you can trust your feelings and you're really looking at your hopes and dreams and altering them, but and taking good actions. And then sometimes you're just way over the top and you're just kind of like winding yourself up to this point of explosion emotionally. So be very aware of that. The best way to differentiate is, like I said earlier, if it feels urgent and it's super, super loud, then that's the ego trying to sabotage you. If it feels subtle and quiet and reasonable, then that's higher self, and that's something you can listen to. Meditation is always a good way to kind of keep these things at bay. On the 28th of April, Mercury goes retrograde, and Mercury is in your sign, starts to station. So you're going to be impacted by this Mercury retrograde, more so than you usually are, because your ruler is Venus. Mercury doesn't really have that much impact on you, but because Mercury is in Taurus, you will feel like your way forward, the way you communicate, the way you put things into practice, is just going to have to alter in some way. So you're going to feel this, like you're going to feel like things aren't going your way and there are obstacles in your path which you have to jump over. On the 29th, the moon starts to square Venus. Venus is on top of your, it's just on the cusp between your 12th and your 1st. And with the moon in your 10th house, this is another good day to further your career and also to discover a way of helping other people. That's really a big theme for you this month, that you want to discover how you can apply yourself. And then the next day, Venus goes into your sign of Taurus, and this really ends the month on a high note. And this is now your birthday month. You feel very much like you can listen to yourself again. You start to be there for yourself again, emotionally and lovingly, and the kind of hysteria that you've experienced sometimes during April kind of fades away and you feel much stronger. And May is going to be an excellent month for you. You started with Venus and Mercury and the Sun all in your sign of Taurus. So what it is you love, what it is you're thinking about, how you communicate, what your energy is like, all of those are 10 out of 10, and you can really start the month with a place of strength. So don't get yourself in any sticky situations that you have to then untangle in May. Just really check in with yourself as my emotions, what can I trust and what can't I trust, especially on those key dates that I mentioned. So have a wonderful April. If you'd like a private reading with me, please get in touch via my website. It's gregoryscott.com. Click on the readings tab. You can order your reading there. Remember to subscribe to the channel, and I'll speak to you soon.